Cześć, witajcie. Lecimy dalej z przygodami naszego górnika. I teraz tak, trochę pozmieniałem, ponieważ tamten save może nie był spaprany do końca, ale nie taki jakbym chciał. Dużo kasy poszło się rypać. Czekajcie, bo mam chyba kamerę przestawioną ździebko. Nie wiem, jak to się stało. Dobra, chyba si. Albo ja inaczej siedzę, nieważne. Także zacząłem nowy save z fabułą. Jesteśmy mniej więcej w tym samym miejscu, w którym byliśmy na tamtym save'ie. Musimy uratować Barretta, zaraz będziemy po niego lecieć. Tylko wplątałem się jeszcze w małą rozróbę z czerwonymi diabłami, którą musimy skończyć. Także w tej chwili jesteśmy w kopalniach na Marsie, ratujemy doktorka. No i zobaczymy, co będzie dalej. W międzyczasie sobie zbudowałem statek, ale to wam pokażę, jak w końcu do niego się doczłapiemy.
Harassing nefarious old men by wiping away their hard-earned debts? Tissue sample? You came all the way down here for that? Must be some damn important cells. You want to tell me what I'm about to be staring at? Fast-growing pteromorph. That is concerning. Who exactly told you to bring this to me? Adrian. She gave you this? If she made you come all the way for this. Let's get inside. I need to see these cells.
Tak się zastanawiam.
Gonna ask you to not touch anything. Got some projects in the works down here. I wasn't expecting guests.
Ilu z was grając?
Lou mentioned how you took care of the debt. Just paid the whole thing off, huh? Hope it's obvious from my current circumstances that that's gonna be a gift, not a loan.
O, wesołek. Ilu z was zdejmuje skafander, jak wchodzi do miasta czy do pomieszczenia, gdzie nie jest on potrzebny?
Alright, just get those cellular markers tagged. Wait, where are the markers? This can't be right. This sample, it's Londinian. I'll need to get this all in a slate. Adrian really gave you this sample. You're not lying to me? Because if you told me this was a hoax, and it'd be the best damn fake I've ever seen, I'd be mad and very, very relieved. Can't just humor an old man, huh? This sample, it's got all the indicators of the worst pteromorph attack in human history. I presume you've heard of Londinian. And for good reason. The swarms are so bad, they had to blow the spaceport and seal the place off from the galaxy at large. Not a lot of samples made it off the world from the time of the attack, but the ones that did, well, they look just like this one. I didn't detect any of the telltale signatures this specimen ever sat on a ship while it was alive, either. I don't think it was transported to Dalseti. This specimen, it grew there. Faster than any pteromorph should. Which means, if we're about to start a new era in human-pteromorph relations, where big, sudden Londinian-style attacks can happen outside Londinian, that's not gonna end well for humanity.
It would be the end of us as a species.
So you lugged this bad omen all the way here. You want to tell me what your plans are for it now?
Odlecieć jak najdalej stąd?
Because until now, the Terramorphs that wiped out Londinian had the good sense to stay put. What happened there? It was a tragedy, but at least it was contained. So to find evidence for a similar attack on a different world, well, we don't have enough information to know precisely what this means, but I doubt it's good. So I'd love to know what it is you're planning from here. The circle, huh? Could use a drink about now. Here, faster we take the lift to the surface. Not supposed to use it, but given the circumstances, I'm inclined to just ask forgiveness. Let's get going.
Jest to stara kwatera czerwonych diabłów. Jednej z najlepszych jednostek wojskowych, jakie były w kosmosie, tak? Znajdziemy coś ciekawego tutaj. Znalazłem ciekawy termos. Nie jest to raczej zapowiedź dobrych łupów. To jest. Nieważne, dobra. Myślałem, że jakaś do skilli książka. By nie mówić o tej grze, czy się komuś podoba, czy nie. Questy, nawet te poboczne, muszę przyznać, że są całkiem wciągające. Siema Macieju. Czuję, że wielkie nic tu znajdę. Chociaż tyle. Tam nieprzetworzoną żywność zbieram, bo chciałbym troszkę pogotować. No tak, na skanerze raczej tego nie zrobię. Chyba jednak tam nie wleziemy. Dobra, mam dziwne wrażenie, że Nic więcej tutaj ciekawego nie znajdziemy, więc możemy się wynosić. Ja się wkurzę, jak gdzieś kiedyś przeczytam albo nie wiem, zobaczę na YouTubie, że była tu jakaś unikatowa broń. Nie najgorsze logo mieli. Ogólnie skoro chłop się tu ukrywał, nie wiem jak długo, ale się ukrywał, to mógł chociaż trochę ogarnąć.
Entertaining the notion of xeno-warfare angers me to the core.
Traktorek może sobie poczekać na dole. Najgorzej, nie? Promieniowania ja mam tysiaka do przebiegnięcia. Chyba, że coś tu wyląduje. Przeleciało. Szkoda. Mogliby wylądować piraci, to byśmy buchli im statek. Staruszek całkiem nieźle biega. Ups. A dobra, lecą. Przynajmniej jedno z nich. Dobra, drugi też gdzieś tam leci. Nie mam zbytnio zamiaru czekać na nich. Już i tak jestem napromieniowany. W plecaku fajne jest to, że tylko minimalnie zwalniając bieg można spokojnie sobie podładować zapas tlenu. Chociaż cały czas mam wątpliwości, czy wolę ten podstawowy, który znacznie szybciej się ładuje, czy jednak ten dopakowany, który mam teraz, który daje nam niezłego boosta, ale czas ładowania no jest masakra. z tego jest taki, że dzięki niskiej atmosferze i temu plecakowi, niskiej grawitacji oczywiście, nie atmosferze, mam cały czas bieg na maksa. No, tak wygląda teraz nasz frontier. Może nie jest to piękność, ale jest to moja pierwsza budowa statku i powiem wam, że jestem całkiem z niego zadowolony, biorąc pod uwagę, że ładownie udało nam się podnieść z 400 tam chyba 50, które no chodź 450, który miał frontier, do ponad 2000. To jest dobrze. Ale mówię, o tym pogadamy za chwileczkę, jak wrócimy na statek. Zauważyłem też, że zbytnio nie ma sensu kupować statków, ponieważ no może lepiej wyglądają niż mój, nie? No okej, ale za to lecicie, dobiegniecie, ale za to są dwukrotnie droższe. Ja za budowę swojego
Percival. My God, look at you.
zapłaciłem niecałe 100 000, gdzie statek z podobną ładownią kosztuje ponad 200 grubo.
Suffice it to say,
Not here. Let's talk somewhere more private. Lou said we could use the back. Lou gave me the abridged version of what went down. I can't thank you enough for taking care of all that.
makes two of us.
I hope it ultimately didn't end up being too much trouble.
No, spoko, tylko 25 000 za kolesia zapłaciłem i zamordowałem kilkadziesiąt osób, ale to nic takiego, nie?
That's certainly not what I was expecting you'd have to go through. But thank you. I'm just glad you both came through intact. So, were you two able to get that workup together?
Got it right here. That sample? It's an exact match for the ones from Londinian.
Londinian. That's exactly what I was afraid of.
Not thrilled to be the bearer of that kind of news.
Zaraz pewnie znowu dostanę opieprz od
So tell me you've
Seramiego,
got
że
some kind of plan for that
palę na
work.
nagraniu, no ale
Well, right now we've got more questions than
lubię
answers.
palić, no to na to
So I've
poradzę.
been trying to figure out what it's going to take to access our old Terramorph data.
Good place to start. What'd you find?
It's in the archives.
The Armistice Archives. Doesn't that mean we be dealing with the cabinet? And the Freestar Collective? And House Varoon somehow? Guess we can kiss that approach goodbye.
I didn't think the cabinet would be willing to hear us out either. But I called in some favors. They've agreed to hear us out on two conditions. One, they want to see this analysis you two have procured. And two, they want to discuss what happened on Tau Ceti with both of us. It can be a daunting experience, which is why I wanted to make sure, before you agreed to anything, we gave you the whole truth. Percival and I, we're not just researchers. We were military scientists, ran a division of the UC together that deployed aliens on the battlefield as weapons.
Place I was hiding out. That was our unit's home base.
To też już wiem.
After some early fits and starts at other facilities, the place eventually became the heart of UC xeno-warfare. A practice that's been banned ever since the armistice went into effect almost 20 years ago. And the UC military cut us loose for what we'd done. Well, it was during that assignment that the UC asked us to explore deploying terramorphs on the battlefield. The project never got off the ground, but the data our team gathered is now sitting in the archives, along with all the other information banned after the Colony War. Under the watchful eye of monitors from all the galactic factions still participating in regular politics. But if we can convince the cabinet to help us access that data, it'll give us the tools we need to decipher what exactly this sample might mean. And hopefully, how to prevent more attacks like the one that spawned it. All right. I'm gonna go get this work up into the cabinet's hands. I'll meet you out front of Mast in New Atlantis.
Good luck. You two are gonna need it.
To ma jakieś zaburzenia, się co chwilę łapami bawi.
Not a lot of folks would have stuck their necks out for a stranger like that.
Tego w CV nie miała, nie? Że jest akrobatką.
Percival's always seemed like such a good guy. To believe he did so much damage during the war.
Przepraszam. Chciałem coś powiedzieć, ale to chyba nie było na wizję. No właśnie, weźmy, opędzlujmy może itemki.
Yes? Want to see what I'm carrying?
Tego sztucera sobie zostawię tak na pamiątkę, bardzo mi przypomina Stalkera. W sumie nie wiem, jakie ona ma ciuchy tak normalnie. Dobra, zasoby może nieść.
Bye bye.
O. To mnie zaskoczyło. Myślałem, że ubiór ma domyślny.
Take your time. Hey, you looking for anything? Cool. That's what we do here.
Mam nadzieję, że starczy mu kasy. Kurde, żeby miał większe obrażenia fizyczne, to by było dobrze. Ale ten ma. Zaraz go sobie porównamy do naszego. 15, ten ma 20. Plus 10 ludziom. Klimator tłumik półautomatyczny. Dużo mniejszy zasięg, cholerka. Nie pamiętam jaki ona ma hełm. No chyba koło 4. Co? 115. Mhm. Dobra, to znaczy, że wyczyściliśmy gościa z kasy.
Come back anytime.
Ale prawie wszystko opyliliśmy, więc
Geppetto has started
nieźle.
making robots.
Nie będziemy tutaj szukać kolejnego.
Ain't you brave?
Kolejnego sprzedawcy. Generalnie jest tutaj tyle perków do odblokowania, że nie wiem od czego się tutaj od czego zacząć. Przydałby się pilotaż, żeby móc pilotować lepsze statki klasy B czy C. Przydałoby się życie dla regeneracji poza walką. Przydałaby się produkcja broni, plecaków, skafandrów.
Let's put this man to disgrace.
Uważam, że jak na pierwszy statek zbudowany jest, mogę być dumny z niego, może tak. Teraz pewnie będzie dużo gadania, co? Spotkania z rządem raczej nie będą zbyt emocjonujące.
Captain! Over here! The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus. Woe to the defeated in Old Earth Latin. A title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come.
Też mi się to ciśnie na usta, ale...
He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't
W
matter.
obecnych czasach chyba
The
nie
man I was
wypada.
cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC.
Skoro
Military
tylko ofiary ginęły, to pół
and
biedy, nie?
civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned.
No to nara.
I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terramorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise.
Za każdym razem, jak z nią rozmawiam, zastanawia mnie, na jakiego grzyba jej ten karabinczyk, nie?
Well, thinking about it more, I suspect there'd be value in sharing the fact that the Terramorph project was, well, a failure. There's no need to be afraid of this data being weaponized. Knowing that should calm some of the cabinet's fears and make it easier for us to dispel any suspicions the other factions might have about our intentions.
To znaczy, że jeszcze będę musiał odpowiadać na pytania. Dobra,
Then I guess
lecimy
it's
z
just
tym
a matter
koksem.
of-
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue. Here we go.
Założymy się, że skończy się jak w Mass Effectie, że będą mieli na nas wyrąbane. Czemu NPC chodzą szybciej niż mój chód, ale wolniej niż mój bieg? Jedną grę chyba taką spotkałem, gdzie nie... Teleportacyjna winda. Gdzie nie było z tym problemu. Teraz nie pamiętam tytułu. Oczywiście.
Ah, welcome.
Welcome.
You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
No, zaczyna się słodko.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor. That is something to consider. Though we also have to take into account the nature of the data you require.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic, and at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the Chief Diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask, how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act? 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral.
Przypominają mi faktycznie
So then,
radę z
Captain,
Mass Effecta.
Given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
It doesn't matter if it can be weaponized or not. The archives need to remain sealed for now. There's no reason to rush into a decision of this magnitude.
That? I hadn't thought of that, Captain.
An excellent point indeed. The other powers would likely be much more inclined to work with us knowing that. Chief Diplomat.
That point is a good one. Very well, you have my agreement.
Nie wiem właśnie, co się wydarzyło. Mam wrażenie, że blondyna powiedziała zupełnie co innego niż się nacisnąłem. No kuźwa, oczywiście.
Incident. Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
Damn it. They're here. Now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures... evaded our scanner somehow.
Jednak obrady potrafią być ciekawe. Ciekawe.
Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Halo,
Well then,
stoję tu i czekam.
we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
No jak, bierzesz największą spluwę i nawalasz, no proste. A co jest? Tu mam z buta walić? Dlaczego? Dlaczego ja nie mam broni swojej?
We're trying to help you!
Co, mam ich rozwalić? Wolałbym nie pluć do cywili. Ej, a może dlatego... A spróbujmy ich tak po ludzku wpierdolim spuścić. Dobra, to, że ja nie używam broni, to chyba jednak dużo nie robi.
Thank God you got here when you did.
Naprawdę mogliśmy ich ogłuszyć, nie?
I just wish it hadn't come to that.
Yeah, what the hell happened back there, Captain? There's no excuse
Ups,
for using
dzięki.
lethal force here.
Chciałbym zauważyć, że to one
Or
zaczęły
you could have
strzelać.
used the EM gun like you were ordered. These are lives. Now, officer, the way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know.
Nie doczytało mi się.
They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We'd tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just...
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorph. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire. And keep that EM weapon at the ready.
Dobra, teraz już wiem.
Let's do it.
That's unlocked. Please, do what you...
Dobra, mówicie, że... Ten Equinox, tak? Weźmy go sobie tutaj.
An evacuation order has been issued for the spaceport district. All citizens are required to proceed to the nearest shelter.
Co z tego, że ja będę walił z energetyka, jak oni granatami naparzają.
We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad. We're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies.
Sorry. Chciałem
Can't
przyspieszyć.
risk taking over anymore, my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
Ciekawe, jak one statki kosmiczne rozdupczyły. Tak, tak. I się plecak pojawia i znika.
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here. But we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Roger that. We're on you.
Zobaczymy, czy to był dobry wybór.
It's over. Thank God. If these things reached the populated areas of the city, we would have had an absolute massacre on our hands.
Nie żeby coś, ale nie pogardzę.
Guess they weren't kidding about you two. Universe put the right people in the right place.
W trójkę byliśmy, Halko.
Certainly doesn't feel like it. I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Się
Just glad you could
podniecił.
rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Wypuści mnie ktoś stąd?
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all-clear signal before...
I tego Equinoxa chyba warto sobie zachować, co? W ogóle dostałem zjebę od klona. Teraz pewnie jeszcze w rządzie mnie opieprzą.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things we should discuss. Captain, Hadrian, it would appear that the cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. The Cabinet wants progress, and wants it quickly. You're already far more familiar with the situation than any diplomat would be. There's also no diplomat alive that can claim they helped keep a cadre of Terramorphs off the embassy doorsteps. The Cabinet was unanimous. They want you. We do. In exchange, We're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data.
Jasne.
So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies...
They're not killing me.
I'm gonna go check in with Chief Agent start getting acquainted.
The things we do here, the tech we develop.
Panna Sanon chyba zbytnio nie ma się z czego cieszyć. Potrzebowali kozła ofiarnego, to ją kopnęli w tyłek. Teraz chwilowo jest przydatna, to jej przywrócili stopień.
These orders. A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second in command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct? It was a mutual agreement, but I suppose you touch on the spirit of it. So, you also know then that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC. Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective, and how... Get them both, and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done. I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate. And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative. But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun?
Dużo
The
gadania.
good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her. Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support. And who knows?
Doświadczenie z gwardii. Jestem gwardzistą może 3 dni.
But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code. Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze. UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage. But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell. So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen. Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be... But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you. Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over. But I can't make any... All right. Here. Your diplomatic
Przepraszam.
ID. I'll give them a heads up, you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door. And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there. Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval. It does, but there's a concern.
Oczywiście.
We're not 100% sure Balmore's actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out.
Faktycznie, to może być
Scans of the
problem.
facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting. Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice. The Varun delegation brought more than a few of their native flora with them when they set up in the embassy. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish, making it hard for us to verify what's flora and what's ambassador.
Aha.
I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here. This device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, and fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there. Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her. Be smart out there, Captain.
Myślałem, że wstąpienie do Zetek to będzie w miarę szybka misja, a tutaj się okazuje, że północy na tym spędzę. Nie, żeby nie było ciekawie, nie? Ale...
Captain. Congratulations on joining the ranks of the Vanguard.
Ciekawe, gdzie ty byłeś podczas ataku. Rozwala mnie to, że tu można po drzewach chodzić.
You are a visitor? You'll find the ambassador in her office. Go on through.
Visitors are only allowed. I'm going to be up front with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective, but you lead and I'll follow.
As in more than one? All that security and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I had received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here? You're allowed 3 places. Conference room, lobby, or the ambassador's office.
You set foot anywhere else, there's going to be problems.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. I was afraid of that. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. One to convince me. Understood.
Hey.
Nie wiem, czy tu mogę być, ale...
That woman is an absolute... Oh, sorry. Oh, wait. You're the Vanguard captain, right? You know, I was about to board the nap to the spaceport when the alarm triggered. Sounds like I got real lucky. And like I've got you to thank for things not being a lot uglier. Well, then you have my earnest thanks. But look, they said you were coming here unofficial. The ambassador likes to handle all that personal, even if she does have trained diplomats here to help her. And I don't want to get shipped back to Aquila City, so you...
W retoryce raczej jestem słabiutki, więc...
You want to work with me? Why don't we talk somewhere a bit more private?
Się właśnie zastanawiam, czy te dwa jaja, które mam w sejfie, to są jaja terramorfów. Upsik.
So you want me to work with you, but why now? Why me? No, I think that's a pretty safe assumption, and no other city should have to go through what happened here. So then, what would you need from me? Her quarters. Well, that's doable. And you and And the UC will be providing me with what for my services?
Dobre pytanie.
Oh, wait, I thought you were looking to hire.
Ja bym dał 5.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so there's a utility corridor that leads to the ambassador's quarters, which you can access through the main conference room. Here, the key. Whatever you do, don't let the guards see you entering or exiting the utility section, or you're gonna be in serious hot water. I'll keep an ear out for more instructions from the UC.
Dobra, czas chyba wykorzystać ten jeden punkt, który... O, 2 punkty. Które mam tutaj gdzieś skitrane. Szkoda, że już nie mam tego skafandra kameleona, czy jak on się tam nazywał.
Guests can make themselves comfortable in the lobby. Będę tak tuptać sobie. Matko jedyna, czy ty chcesz, żebym dostał zawału, kobieto? Siema. W jakim sensie czym? Chyba tam zejdziemy.
What are you doing in here? Area's off limits. Hey, you're in a restricted zone. Stop. In the name of the law. You're making things harder for yourself.
Nie, mówcie, że przez tą pindę mnie znaleźli.
You're making things hard. You're leaving the embassy now.
Dobra.
Good. And you can bet the UC is gonna hear about this.
I can't believe
installation to common criminal.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby.
I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective, but you lead and I'll follow.
Myślę, że jednak będziemy kazali jej zostać, co?
All that security and they still can't protect their own spaceport. UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
A little on edge after the attack.
Ah, you're the one. You have my now, that now the UC will... I can only presume. I was afraid. Let me be frank. I will not be the one No, Captain, I'm not, and I'll tell you why. What you experienced down fought tooth and nail as aliens rampaged in the streets of my home and others all. But my aliens were placed there by you. So I'm not interested in anyone getting power like that ever again. I guess you will.
That woman. Oh, sorry. Oh, what? You know, I was about. And, like. Well, then you. But the ambassador, even if he does have trained diplomat. And I don't.
Dobra, to niech sobie tutaj zostanie. Sobie potuptamy tam bez niej.
So you want me to... No, I think that's a pretty... So then... Okay, First you need her bio key, and that thing doesn't leave her side. Better chance of split. Her quarters. And you... Oh, wait. I thought you were... Okay, so there's a utility corridor. Here. I'll,
Ciekawe, czy to, że noszę na sobie skafander, ma jakiś wpływ. Strzelimy zapisa, bo to było super ciche. No jak życie jeszcze z kilka razy to spierdzielę. bardzo trudne. Teraz się tylko nie władować na tą gwardzistkę, nie?
What can I help you with? Sounds good. Lead on.
Did I not make myself abundantly clear, Captain?
Zdradliwa
You're
rura.
not getting access to the archives. Excuse me? I have no idea what you're talking about. No. If the council found out, I'd lose my position. I'd be exiled.
Oj, oj.
Look, I believe we may have gotten off on the wrong foot.
Tak
The
mi
issue at
przykro, że
hand
aż
is one
wcale.
of trust, no? So perhaps if I can trust you to keep this little secret between us, then maybe we can find a way to trust the UC with access to the archives. Good. I appreciate you working with me. Just like I'm sure our great powers will.
Co ona ma z oczami
In
w ogóle?
fact, I think there's an opportunity here.
Wygląda jakby
Keep
miała
both
jedno
our factions
sztuczne.
happy and ensure an air of legitimacy to the whole proceeding. I can only let you get the information on the terramorphs. Anything else and people will get suspicious. And all research will need to be monitored. Freestar scientific observers making sure everything's being used for the right purposes. But those two items should be enough to allay any suspicions. Good. Okay, let's go get you your access.
Aleluja.
They tell me it should only take a moment. And there. Here you go. It's not supposed to be a long process. It is for emergencies, after all.
I don't really go for all this.
Nawet już w porcie posprzątali. O. Drzwiczki od naszego glicza z kasą. No tutaj to dawno nie sprzątano. Się zaplątała w barierkę. Zabezpieczenia mogę rozdupczyć, co? W razie czego? Nie wiem, czy to...
This isn't what I expected at all. It appears the flora they were using as decor has overgrown the entire embassy.
Nie wiem, czy to słyszycie, ale dźwięki są mało przyjemne. A w sumie, skoro są ustawione na mnie, to można je równie dobrze aktywować, nie? Cholera wie, co tu łazi. Chyba się cieszę, że jestem w kombinezonie.
I've never seen a tree like this before in my entire life. It'd actually be more fascinating if the branches weren't blocking our way.
Teraz nie wiem, czy po przemianowaniu wieżyczki będą mnie atakować, czy nie. Znaczy się roboty. Dobra, roboty będą. Tyle manekinów. Koleś musi być jakimś kompletnym psycholem. Mam wszystko jakoś tak dziwnie wytłumione. Zaawansowane. Mam nadzieję, że nie zdupczyłem tego. Może się przydadzą. Teraz nie przejdziesz tędy? Mi się trochę plecaczek podładuje. Może ci się odsunąć od tych drzwi? Nie za bardzo. Ale spierdoliłem.
I could have sworn.
Dobra, już się rozwaliło. Spoko. Ty, dziadu. strzela. Skubaniec. On mnie zaskoczył. Z jakiegoś zwisa chyba złapał. Chciałem przeładować. Dwójki. Zapewne będzie już pusty, ale... Kurde, nie. Się o dwa pola pomyliłem. świetle dziennym to trochę lepiej wygląda. Znaczy się sztucznym, ale świetle.
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the Great Serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss.
Wygląda jak Spox. No, dużo czytania. Myślałem, że będzie jakieś info na temat tego, czemu to tak wygląda, ale chyba nie.
Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly? Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guiding you through the intercoms to restore the environmental controls. And release me. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, perhaps not a topic for this exact moment. But I must know of the rest of the city. Does it still stand? Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. Who else could just waltz through my door? And the broadcast spoke of terrormorphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code. So the UC requires information, then. On terrormorphs, presumably. Do I see this all clearly? The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy, with little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
We'll do everything we can to make certain that happens.
Well, then I shall not fear. Please, follow me.
Ciekawe, czy to coś jeszcze tu działa w ogóle.
Let's hope it still works. Let it be used for good. I will not have House Varun be known only for slaughter. The affairs of House Varun are our own. They left. That is... House Varun committed itself to the armistice. This was said at the time to be the desire of the Great Serpent, and I do not... So, when my brethren left, I remained, honoring the Serpent's will as I saw fit. It was tolerable, even pleasant when my brethren were here in the embassy with me. We remade this place as best we could into a home we all would recognize. With my brethren gone, it has been trying. But the Great Serpent is so much more than a god. It is fate itself. When our founder, Jinan Varun, left the United Colonies 140 years ago for distant stars, it was this. The Serpent made us who we are today. Its voice speaks to us.
Tak się rozglądam, może gdzieś tutaj leży klucz, co? Plus 5 do perswazji. Mało, ale się przyda. Właśnie. Tak nie działa.
it already has a plan in place to open the Armistice archives. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Got a call? Someone's power kept going out.
Captain, you're back sooner than... Oh, wait. Did you actually succeed? With Radcliffe? And Balmore? We're all in agreement. That's incredible. I wasn't sure Radcliffe would ever get on board. I'm very much looking forward to getting the debrief on how precisely you managed to pull all this off, but that'll have to wait for another time. Regardless, superlative work, Captain. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival monitors. When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the codes. Follow them to the letter. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance is just on the other side of the plaza across from Mast. Absolute best behavior down there, all right?
Oczywiście.
Hey.
Dobra, myślę, że otworzymy to archiwum i będziemy kończyć. Powoli łeb leci na dół. Chciałem dzisiaj trochę pchnąć fabułę, ale ta misja dla ZK mnie dość grubo pochłonęła. Ja zgaduję, że to jeszcze nie koniec, nie?
Captain, we've been expecting you. Please approach the monitoring station and we will go over the rules. Welcome, Captain, to the archives. To proceed, you will need to deposit your codes into the 3 corresponding receptacles. Once they are verified, I will open the door. Your data resides in Unit 18. You will not be able to access any of the other units. Once you've collected your data, return to the entrance. You may insert the first of the archival codes when you're ready to begin.
Prawda, po całym pomieszczeniu to rozmieścili.
You may proceed, Captain.
I think you need to get rid of some of that gear.
Myślałem, że otwarcie tych archiwów będzie jakoś bardziej spektakularne.
humanoid? That's kind of scary.
Kill for a cup of coffee right about now.
Ja też.
Captain.
There you are.
Captain. Surprised to find out we're having visitors as we work.
Major Sinan and I were just discussing the merits of your planned interfactional cooperation. I think it's a great idea. Get them invested in the solution. Make it clear we've got nothing to hide.
I'm sure they'll be lovely house guests.
Now, Captain, if you wouldn't mind transferring the documents to the Major, she and I have been discussing next steps.
Time for us to start getting some real answers. And figure out if we've been asking the right questions. So whenever you're ready. Yes. It will be. Percival and I have done our damage. This is us starting to put some things right.
Plus, you don't need her word. We'll be setting up oversight alongside the collective.
You're carrying the most comprehensive collection of information on terramorphs in the known universe. If we can't pry an answer out of there, it likely doesn't exist. Certainly doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but we're not going to know until Percival and I dig in, so whenever you're ready. Acknowledged and accepted, Captain. So with the data out of the way, we've been discussing where exactly this work's getting done. The Red Devil's headquarters on Mars, back where you found Percival, seemed the natural spot. Already has the equipment, the safety measures. Should even be able to house its own cadre of independent observers. Though it sounded like the deputy had a few more things she needed to discuss with you first.
Indeed. The most important of which is getting you your citizenship.
Then I guess we'll see you on Mars.
Captain, if you'll follow me.
Nie mówcie, że zostanę obywatelem. Dzisiaj czytałem, że uzyskanie obywatelstwa jest niemożliwe, więc albo poradnik lekko nieaktualny, albo ktoś mnie tu robi wciula. No z drogi, paruwo. No. Zobaczymy, czy zostanę obywatelem, czy zostanę wyciulany, jak to zazwyczaj w takich sytuacjach bywa. Skok wiary? Wysoko.
All right, Captain. Are you ready to become a citizen of the United Colonies?
Jasne. Zwłaszcza, że jak mówiłem, przeczytałem, że jest to niemożliwe.
Good. This isn't the only item we need to discuss, so I'll give you the short version. Please raise your hand. Captain, through your actions today and in days past, you have earned your place among the United Colonies. Through service, bravery, strength, and upholding of the mutual good. Will you carry and cultivate these values for as long as you remain a citizen? Then, Captain, I'm pleased to welcome you into the United Colonies as a full citizen. Here, your official ID and your citizenship dispensation. We've also let the Aphelion Realty office out in the plaza know you're approved to purchase property. Now, the other item we needed to discuss. There's a member of the UC who's asked to speak to you, but this person is in a sensitive position. Normally, we wouldn't even consider something like this, but we think this person has information that could prove useful in dealing with the terramorphs. and they stated they'll only share it with you. They asked for you by name. So I need your agreement that everything you're about to see is kept in the strictest confidence. You can tell no one. Can you agree to these terms? Let's hope it never comes to that. Head to the elevator. You're going to subsection 7. I'll make sure you're cleared for access by the time you get there.
Tak cały czas czekam na jakiś odpowiedni moment, żeby to zakończyć. I cały czas mnie czymś zaskakują. Podsekcja 7. Czemu wszystkie ważne rzeczy?
I've lived in New Atlantis almost my entire life, and I had no idea this place even existed. The UC certainly excels at keeping secrets.
Ja tu sporo ciekawych rzeczy widzę.
Authorized entry. Unsealing access. You may proceed down the corridor. But there are no additional visitors permitted. Your friend's gonna have to wait out here.
I'll be fine. You go on ahead.
Welcome, Captain. Please, come down and approach the intercom.
Hannibal Lecter?
President Abeyo was kind enough to give me a few files to peruse. Quite the series of accomplishments you've managed. But now you face a foe unlike any other. An invisible enemy, lurking in the shadows. You're going to need all the help you can get. Which is why I hoped we could speak. Do you know who I am?
Kurna niby skąd? Morgan Freeman?
Not quite. I'm Francois Sanon. But most know me as Victus.
Ocie w
I was
mordę.
an admiral during the Colony War. One of its great villains, if you believe the slates. I was to be executed for my crimes, but the previous regime deemed me too valuable to simply discard. So they put me here, a sacrifice on the altar of peace. Even my death served the colonies. Captain, please. There are no clean hands in galactic politics. We all do what we must to keep ourselves safe. Which, right now, means finding a way to protect the United Colonies and beyond from additional terramorph attacks. An effort you and my progeny, Hadrian, have already made impressive progress on. And I'd like to help, though I am curious. Has she shared with you the nature of our little family? Did she? So willing to trust Hadrian. I never did succeed in driving that out of her. Our relationship has always been a challenging one. The Major was born to become a great leader, carry on the legacy I established, and was given all the finest training to support it. And she excelled. But the universe cut all that short. Now, though, It's placed even more crucial work in front of the two of you. And I think I have a part to play in helping you accomplish what you've set out to do.
Nie wiem, czemu jakoś nie mam kompletnie zaufania do tego gościa.
After some long years earning the trust of this current regime, the UC has been permitting me to work alongside one of their recovery teams, helping them gather intelligence on, locate, and organize scenarios to lure in some of the criminals that evaded justice after the colony war. With quite a few successes, I might add. But in the process, I managed to find something else.
Szybciej mów, chłopie.
The names and locations of Hadrian and Percival's old research team. I'll tell you where they are.
No, oczywiście.
There is a former colleague of mine. Like myself and Hadrian, he was involved in some of the United Colony's more problematic lines of research. Mech weapon. If it dealt death, he could make a deal more. When the colony war ended, he fled, refusing to face tribunal, and has continued to peddle his skills to the highest bidder to this day. But I finally found him. I want you to track him down and deal with him, however you're able. I'm not expecting he'll come quietly. Bring me evidence that the job's done, and I'll tell you what I know. Speak to Deputy McIntyre. I'm sure she'd be happy to hear that someone might be tying up this loose end at long last. Though I would ask you, do not make the mistake of confusing me for a simple cutthroat. You can certainly try, but the man's been out there 20 years. Easier for all if you simply blow up his ship. If that's what you require to sleep at night, so be it. According to my information, he's been hiding around the world of Etheria, Wolf System. There is a star station in the vicinity, the Den. The head of the local vanguard, one Captain Marquez, should be able to help you find our man.
Całkiem przytulny domek mu zrobili. Dobra. Będziemy kończyć. Jak już mówiłem, padam na pyszczek. Misji fabularnych żadnych nie ruszyliśmy, bo poboczne misje są tu coś przydługawe. Ale to nic, trzeba przyznać, że była jest w sumie dosyć interesująca. Także ja spadam w kimę, wam dziękuję za oglądanie, trzymajcie się i do zobaczenia.